everyone. My name is Miss Perdue, and I'm going to be helping you guys this year with the all-county music. Now, the first piece that I want to pull up is this 8th grade Unison band piece, okay? We all know whenever we're sight reading a piece or we're beginning to look on things, the first thing that we should look at are signatures. Now, the easiest part about this piece is that it is in 4/4. But it is also in A flat major, which is 4 flats. The first flat you have in A flat major is B flat, E flat, A flat, and D flat, which is just your pinky. So make sure you're anchoring the flute really well here so that it's not hard to just hold it with your pinky. Okay? Whenever I start a new piece, I always want to make sure that I can play the scale that correlates to the piece. If you can't play the scale, the piece is going to be pretty hard for you. So with your tuner or your metronome just sitting on your stand, I would recommend doing some long tones on the A flat major scale. Once you're nice and warmed up, we can take a look at the beginning of this piece. If you look at this piece as a whole, you will see a lot of rhythms that you probably haven't seen before, and some maybe that you have. I like to learn things measure by measure, small chunks at a time, and then we'll take them and make them into bigger chunks. The other thing that I like to do whenever I'm starting a new piece is that there's no point for me to go quarter note equals 100 because I don't know the piece yet. So I would suggest putting your metronome on something a little bit more reasonable, and we're going to try something around 76 just to start out with. Okay? Ta 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 ta. If I can sing it, I can play it. Now, beat 4 may sound weird to you. It's right. It has to be that D flat, which is pinky only. If you feel like you're going to drop your flute and it's just wiggling really bad on you, you are allowed to leave your right hand down when you play D flat, and it's not going to do anything to the sound, and no one will really know that you're doing it either. Okay? So, the first thing that I would do when it comes to playing this piece is I would play the first measure. And then I would take a look at the second measure. I would see that the rhythm is the same with beat 1, except the notes are a little bit different. Okay, and now I'll try measure 2. If I feel like that went pretty well, I'm just going to put them both together at this point. Now, the important thing about this opening statement is your style. Style has to be fun and contrasting. If you look at measure 2, beats 2 and are staccato, which means short, separated, bouncy, whatever, space. Anything that you hear your band director say about staccato absolutely correlates to this part. But beats 3 and 4 are nice, smooth, long, and connected. So you need to show the contrast between both of those. Okay, and make sure you're holding beat 3 and 4 out for their full value so that we can hear that contrast. If you look at measure 3, the contrast is there for you again. Tia, ta, ta, tia, ta, ta. Tongue, slur, tongue, 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 slur, tongue, tongue. Try that. All this is a chromatic scale, a scale going up by half steps. Tia, ta, ta, tia, ta, ta. Try that articulation. And then if you look at measure 4, we're almost through the first line, that 1 and a 2 rhythm comes back as it has in measure 1 and measure 2 now. 1 and a 2 and 3, 4. Now I know I can play measure 3 and measure 4 separately, but can I play them together? Now, for those 16th notes, you need to make sure that the tip of your tongue is hitting the back of your teeth or in the center of the teeth. It's kind of different for everyone. But whenever you do tongue, don't pull your tongue back in your mouth. Keep it right there at the front so that way you can tongue faster. If your tongue keeps going back to the back of your mouth, it's going to have longer to go and it's going to get really, really tired. And we don't want to do that. So keep your tongue right towards the front of your mouth. Ta, 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 ta. Instead of going ta, 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 ta. If that makes sense. Okay, let's try to put the whole first line together. And now we're at to line 5. I want you to look at line 5 and I want you to see, or measure 5, sorry. I want you to see if anything looks similar. If you're saying the 1 and a 2 rhythm, you're absolutely correct. That is something that comes back numerous times throughout this. If you get that rhythm right, just the one time, all you have to do is learn it the one time. You've got it for the whole piece, okay? So, and make sure you're showing that contrast in between the staccatos and the slurs. Making sure that your staccatos really are short, separated, and bouncy, and that your slurs are nice and connected, only a tongue to start the slur, and that you're holding your notes out for their full value. Measure 5. Okay? Now look at your next measure. It's the same rhythm, it just shifts up a little bit. Okay, once you see that you have both of those put together, try them together. Okay, and you're still pretty piano here, so make sure you're playing nice and soft. If you look at measure 7, it's still the same rhythm. It just doesn't end with a quarter note. It ends with 2 8 notes this time. Make sure you're holding that dotted quarter note for 3 whole beats, okay? Let's go all the way back to measure 5 and play the whole second line now. Here we go. 1, 2, and And that's measure 9. I want you to look right at measure 9. We have what is called a dotted rhythm. If you remember to band class, dots beside notes add half of the value of the note before it. So if you look at measure 9, that E flat, the bass note is a quarter note and the dot adds half of a quarter note. So it adds a eighth note onto it. So if you think about it, 1 plus a half is 1 1/2. That rhythm is going to get 1 1/2 beats. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Okay, let's count and clap that again. Ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Good, now put it with your metronome. Count and clap again. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Now, let's try to play it. E flat, it's not a note to be scared of. Every finger goes down on the flute and you have a very high airstream. Let's try that again. Ready, and. And you guys are okay to use your best flute singing voice on this, because you are mezzo forte. It's a beautiful register of the flute, and it's the highest part of the piece. Okay? Again. 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1 and a 2 and 3. So now we're back to the original rhythm. Make sure you're holding that half note out for 2 full beats. Let's put measure 9 and measure 10 together now. Be careful in measure 11 and 12. We have another dotted rhythm. But what does this one mean? Well, take an eighth note and then half of that value and add it together. So you have a dotted eighth note. 1 and a 2, 1 and a 2, 1 and a 2. Okay? 1, a 2, 1, a 2. See if you can count and clap that. 1 E and a 2 E and a ready, go. 1 E and a 2, 1 E and a 2. Fuck, I hate that.